Hello, good morning. Kimberly here. It is Thursday, so it is time for Inspired Thoughts. And what I felt inspired to talk about today was focus, hence the title Focus, Focus, Focus. I've learned a lot about this topic the most difficult way, which is really um, failing to focus, not putting much energy toward the idea of focus. And it's really about just choosing where you put your attention. We can put our attention on anything, and the fact of the matter is you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And I think we have a tendency to have so many plates spinning at one time, so many balls in the air as we're juggling this life that we get to live, that we end up not being able to necessarily feel like we're doing anything to the best of our ability. And I say we got to cut that out. We have to um, we have to really take a step back, ask ourselves. So I'm inviting you to ask yourself, what's most important? What is most important to you in your life? What are the priorities that stand out for you? And then take a look at how you're spending your time, what you're giving your attention to, and see if they match. Because if your priorities are A, B, and C, like if you really tune into yourself and ask your heart, what's most important to me? And the answer is A, B, and C. But then when you look at your days, your weeks, you're spending the vast majority of your time on D, E, and F, there's going to be an incongruency there that doesn't feel very good. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel either unaccomplished, frustrated, tired, and it's simply because you most likely tried to focus on too many things, or focused on things that weren't the most fulfilling because they weren't of highest priority to you within your own heart. And so there's lots of different exercises you can do, and things that you can implement to, like organizers and calendars and planners and things like that, to really take a look at how you can best spend your time. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to how you feel. And if at the end of the day you're not feeling fulfilled and like you focused on the right things, then tomorrow's a new day and you can make a change. So it's really starting with the idea of awareness, and then a willingness to see and then do things differently. If you get to the end of the day today and look back on your day and think, my top priority is to have time with my family, and I had no time with my family, then what can you do tomorrow that would be different, that would allow for you to create that space? I think the biggest challenge is that as our day begins, we get so caught up in the to-dos, the to-do list that tends to hover over us, where there's just not enough hours in the day to get it all done. And so we get on that wheel of just doing, so that we can potentially check off as much from the to-do list as possible. And sometimes that can feel pretty good to look back and say, okay, I checked 10 things off my to-do list. Whew, accomplishment. And that's good. That's a good thing. But are you fulfilled? Are you feeling that you moved further down the path of who you're meant to be in this world? Do you feel like you've moved further down the path of living the life that you came here to live? And if just knocking a bunch of things off your to-do list doesn't take you even a step further down that path, then it's time to take a second look at and maybe even rework the to-do list. I have lost as I'm sure many of you have, many hours and many days to things, tasks, menial to-dos that in the moment felt like needed to be done, and you don't get that time back. So if you think of the big picture, and I know that's hard to do because we're in the game every day. We're in the game of life and we're playing it, and hopefully playing it full out. But I think it's very healthy from time to time to take a step back, look at the big picture. The big picture is this: we have this one big, brilliant, beautiful life that we know for sure that we came here to live. And are we living it to the best of our ability in a way that makes us feel fulfilled, that makes us feel inspired, that makes us feel like we're excited to jump out of bed every day? Because that is something that for a long time, I was in a place where I was not excited to jump out of bed in the morning. I I don't want to say I dreaded it, but I think there were days. I think we've probably all had days where we think, oh, can't I just stay in bed all day? Like, I have so much to do. I don't even want to think about getting started or what I need to do first. It's just overwhelming. And then we start thinking, okay, God, just get me through this day. And I think back on that, and now that I've moved beyond that into a new perspective and new tools I've implemented in my life, I think, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I lived that way, that I had those days so often where it's like, oh, just get me through this day. You didn't come here to do that. You didn't come into this life to just get through this day. You came into this life to celebrate and find joy in every single day. And yes, there are challenges to that, and there will be days that we need to move through challenges, obstacles, contrast, anger, sadness, frustration, doubt, fear. We'll need to move through all of those things, the entire plethora and spectrum of emotions. But that being said, there's always a path back to who you really are. There's always a path back to what you really came here to do. And you came here to find and feel joy in your life. That you came into this life to live fully in who you are, and then express that light on the world around you. And so there's always the opportunity to come back to that. So in this day and the days to come, if you look at your day and the first thing that bubbles up is the to-do list, I get it. I mean, my to-do list has kept me up more nights than not in over the course of my adult life. But if you wake up and your first focus is the to-do list, see if you can catch yourself. See if you can catch yourself, set it aside, give yourself a bit of time, whether it's 5, 10, 15 minutes, to just tune back in to you, to what's important to you, and think to yourself, okay, ideally, what do I want to focus on today? Yeah, you can get to the what I need to focus on, what I need to get done, but based on the priorities in my life, based on what makes me come alive, based on what would make me feel the most fulfilled and allow me to shine my light the most on those I care about around me, what do I need to focus on today? What do I need to make sure I make happen today? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to blast some music and dance for 5 minutes in the middle of my living room? Do I need to carve out some time with my kids, or with my spouse, my partner, or a best friend? Like, what do I need to do that will take me one step further down the path of living in the fullness of who I am? What will take me just even one step further down the path of living in the fullness of everything this life has to offer? Because when you get to the end of the day today and look back, you can't get today back. You cannot get today back. This moment, right here, right now, will never exist again. So focus is so important, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so what can you focus on today from a positive perspective that will in some way, shape, or form light you up and fill you up? So I would love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing you're going to do within the next 24 hours? So if you're catching this, later based on the recording on the wall, just what are you going to do in the next day? What are you going to do in the next day? What are you going to focus on that takes you a step further down the path? Takes you a step further down the path. Because true joy, happiness, and contentment is only found when we are on the path to becoming who we're capable of being in this life. I truly believe that. I truly believe that, just as Marianne Williamson teaches us in her book, A Return to Love, God brings us into this life, the essence of love. And then life happens and we build our walls and our egos are formed and our personalities and our Facebook profiles. But then our journey is back to love, which is why her book is called A Return to Love. It's as she translates the Course in Miracles, teaches, it's a return back to who we really are, a return back to what we came here to do and who we came here to be and the life we came here to live, which is all based on love, because that's who we are at the core of our being. So went a little deep there, went a little ethereal, but the practical thing here is, I get that there's to-do lists. I get that there's much to be done. I've got a to-do list on the notepad sitting inside on the table waiting for me. It's waiting, and I will ensure that I get done what I need to get done, but not until I make sure that I'm aligned with who I am first. And I've come to a point that daily practice every morning has meant everything. I don't dive into the to-do list until I've first chosen to dive into my heart. I take that 15 minutes every morning to tune into me. And if Tyler wakes up before me, he knows to be patient, because Mama needs to get her meditation on. Mama needs to talk to God for a few minutes, and then I'll get you breakfast. And so you've got to demand that space. You are the guardian of your energy. You are the guardian of your time. You are the guardian of your heart, and you are the guardian of your life, which means you are the guardian of the soul signature that you place on this life. And focus is everything. Where you choose to focus your time and your energy is really important. And so focus some of that first inward. Tune in so that you can really know who you are and what's important to you. And then you can focus it outward, and hopefully primarily in the direction of the things that will take you a step further down the path, toward being who you really are in this life, because that's what we need from you. We need your light to shine. We need you to live in the fullness of who you are, and taking a step further down the path in living this big, brilliant, beautiful life in the fullness of what it has to offer you. And it doesn't happen when we get caught up in the minutia. It doesn't happen when we get caught on that hamster wheel of just waking up, going through the motions, getting the job done for our employer, for our teammates, for our family, for our friends, for everyone around us. A to-do list, I'm not against it. I just think that it may need to be reworked a little bit. So just take a look at your day as it's about to unfold, or depending on when you catch this video, your next day as it's about to unfold, or the day you just experienced, and just really ask how much in alignment it is with what you'd really want to be focusing on. And are there things that will be on that to-do list that you just need to get done? Yeah. And are they necessarily the things that you just can't wait to do? Maybe not. But you can make sure to find the balance between the two to make sure that you are spending some of the time of your day focused on what will fill you up, will light you up, and what will take you a step further down the path. That's all this is, just a single step further down the path. It's not about getting from A to Z. It's just about taking the next step. Just taking the next step for yourself, which will ultimately then be for the benefit of everyone around you. So what are you going to focus on in the next day that will take you a step further down the path of being who you really are, living in the fullness of who you are, and living life in the fullness that it has to offer you? That's the key. What are you going to focus your energy on? Because wherever you bring your attention, your energy is going there. So let it be positive. Let it be what takes you a step further down the path. Let it be what lights you up for the most part, to the best of your ability, and allows you to then let that light shine on the world around you. So focus, focus, focus. If you've learned the hard way like I have, let's not learn the hard way anymore. Let's not let a week go by and look back and think, oh my gosh, where did that week go? Like, where did it even go? Be more present. Be more aware of how you're spending your time and where you're sending your energy, which is only asking, where am I sending my attention? What am I putting my attention on? Am I focused on the stresses of my life and the menial to-do list? Or am I, yes, getting some things done that need to be done, but shifting my focus over to the beauty that this life has to offer, and the fact that I get to be who I am? As Joseph Campbell says, it's a privilege of a lifetime to be who you are. Probably one of my favorite quotes ever. So that's just the invitation today. So I want to see in the comments, I see some are on. I've got Mama on, I've got Jennifer, Brenda Hart, back to you. Holly, what's up, sister? I've got Pamela. So I want to see a comment from you. If you are watching this video, comment, what are you going to do in the next 24 hours? What are you going to focus on that is going to take you further down the path of honoring yourself? A step further down the path, just a step. Doesn't have to be a leap, don't have to sprint. Just a step down the path of being who you really are, fulfilling that, and then living in the fullness that this life has to offer us. Because that's how you're going to get to the end of the day and know it was a day well spent. So with that, I will send you off to do it, and I'll look forward to the comments and be happy to continue the conversation there as well. So I am sending you, until our paths cross again, so much love, and wishing you the inspired life all day, every day. Mwah! Love you all.